know you think there's a lot of excuses. I'll let you give us those. But overall, do you think the Zags were overrated?
No, you're absolutely not overrated. They had a great year. They had a game. They ran into a good basketball team. Team played super. That's the beauty of college basketball. One-time shot. They had a fantastic year. You go 31-0. It's special. You know, some people are out there saying, well, they were exhausted from Saturday night. Well, look, if you're going to be a national championship team, you got to get it done. I'll tell you, 2019, Virginia had to beat Auburn by 1. Then they came back and won the national title in overtime. So the bottom line is they got it done. 2017, North Carolina had an incredible game, beats Oregon by 1. They come back and they win. National championship teams regroup. And I'll tell you one thing I'm proud of. Mark Few and his kids just tipped the hat and saluted the unbelievable performance by Baylor and made no excuses that we were exhausted from Saturday against UCLA. Winners don't make excuses.
Dickie V, the season felt like it was the Gonzaga story, but I want to tell a different story for a second. A Baylor team who a year ago maybe would have won the national title had there been a tournament, who was waiting all this time, who, because of all the cancellations and postponements, like maybe that's why they didn't go undefeated. And when they get to the tournament, Dickie V, they get to the Final Four and whoop up on a Houston team, a good Houston team, and then beat Gonzaga like that. I mean, have you, in your years watching college basketball, where does this Baylor team, because to me, in retrospect, this is the story of Baylor against this COVID backdrop. Where does this Baylor team rank among the great college teams you've ever seen?
Well, you know, Max, first of all, you made a great point. We said it during our telecast last night. Had there not been COVID-19 problems where they took like a 2.5, 3-week pause and they were 17-0 playing brilliant then, they might have come into that game. They lost 2 games after they came back. They might have come into that game undefeated. I mean, right there, nip and tuck in terms of people talking about them and Gonzaga. Look, this was a terrific basketball team who was so efficient. They showed in this tournament their ability. They had multiple weapons in shooting the threes, whether it be Butler, Mitchell, whether it be Teague or Flagler off the bench. And their bench was certainly a major factor. I mean, you think about Chachawa coming in, giving some time inside, physical presence against Timmy on a post. I mean, they defended well. And then the one thing we talked about yesterday is that what's concerning me, when I saw UCLA put 90 on the board against them, I knew that they're going to get shots. Remember, we talked about how if they don't play better defense and they give shots available to this club will make shots in terms of Baylor. And that's what happened. But 86, that's one of the high-scoring games in a championship game in quite a while. So the bottom line is they really made good things happen because they moved the ball, they played as a team, they were efficient in every way. And we just got to pay tribute and really not hear about some people talking about, oh, they were exhausted because of the UCLA game. I don't want to hear that, Stephen A. I don't want to hear it. It's really ridiculous. Bottom line is Baylor won wire to wire and dominated that game.
They dominated the game. Nobody wants to hear that. I completely agree with you. But I have to get on the basketball aficionados here because Max and I talked about it at the top of the show with Coach Seth Greenberg. The fact of the matter is Gonzaga, I'm not going to tell you they were overrated, like literally like disrespecting them. But clearly there's a team that should have been ranked number 1. When you consider Baylor, looking at them on the court, Dickie V, and you've covered more college basketball than anybody on the planet, looking at Baylor, they were bigger, they were stronger, they were faster, they were tougher. And when you look at it from that perspective, that's not something that I saw watching them compared to others because I didn't watch but so many college basketball games this year. But a lot of y'all did. And I'm wondering, when we look at Baylor and you take into account they're part of the Big 12, whereas Gonzaga is in the West Coast Conference, the WCC, with Pepperdine and St. Mary and people like that. Is it not plausible, particularly at this moment in time, to say, yo, there's a whole bunch of people that made a mistake not having Baylor ranked number 1 in the nation throughout this season. We got a bit caught up in Gonzaga. Isn't it time to say that?
No, not time at all. I disagree with you totally. I'm going to tell you why I disagree with you, my friend, and I love you dearly. I disagree with you because this club was blowing people out. They blew out Kansas. They blew out Virginia. They blew out Iowa. They've dominated people all year, the margin of victory. They're a good basketball team. They ran into a buzzsaw. This club was tremendous. I agree with you about the quickness. I agree with you about the toughness. In that game, it certainly was indicative of it. It was not really a situation where you look at Gonzaga and say, well, they didn't come up and fight. They made one run, they got it to 9, and they got it back up to 16. Baylor is the best team in the country right now, and that's the only thing that counts, Stephen A. They got the trophy. They're on the campus celebrating in an incredible story from when it all started. Scott Drew dreaming, takes a job over that people thought he was crazy. He was out of his mind with the depths of despair what was going on at that campus. And here he is, he stands tall, and I salute that. But I also pay tribute to Mark Few and his kids. 31-1, dominating all year, leading the nation in offense in every category. And the bottom line is they just didn't defend well enough in the Final Four. Even the UCLA game, they put 90 on the board. I mean, that was an eye-opener to me because I knew one thing. You know what, Stephen A., Max, and Molly? Most teams that are athletic and quick and play good defense like Baylor, they usually don't shoot the ball that well from the perimeter. Well, this team had a combination. They had toughness defensively, and they got 4 weapons that all can make threes, and they do it on a regular basis.
Yeah,
they weren't the same team after the COVID-19, as Max said. But, man, did they come to play in this tournament. They embarrassed, humiliated a very good Houston team, and they also took down a team from wire to wire that many thought people were talking about maybe the best in this era of all time. But I'm telling you, it was absolutely a Baylor show from top to finish.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.